Hello guys! This week, Kremlin dictator Putin decided to go on tours with a performance named Oreshnik and its structure. Somehow, after the failure to frighten the world with his so-called new intercontinental ballistic missile, Putin decided to continue making news and headlines while describing the structure of a missile. And I'm actually happy that no one is afraid, because bullies often lose their power as long as they keep using one and the same tactics. Perhaps his speeches were meant to frighten one part of the world to persuade the other part of the world to keep supporting the losing Russian Federation. And it is losing on various front lines. And here I mean not just Ukraine, but Georgia, where serious protests against pro-Russian parliament went out on the streets and people will defend their European choice, in Moldova, where they wanted to interfere the results of the elections, and even in Syria. Their dictator Assad escaped to Moscow, and I'm not sure Putin has money, because let's remember the Russian bank collapse, that Putin has money or powers to back him up. And all of this can actually be destroyed really quickly. And I was happy to read the analysis of the Institute for the Study of War, which clearly illustrates that Putin's Oreshnik blackmail failed, and we keep destroying their military objects with long-range missiles successfully. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the collapse of the Russian Federation and protect yourself against their evil narratives and various or hybrid war techniques that they use in your societies, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. So recently, on his rare visit abroad to Kazakhstan, which Putin also dreams to get, but no, because he keeps losing his zone of influence. So in Kazakhstan, he spoke about Oreshnik really long, describing its structure, the way it works, which is another proof he uses it to frighten the world as an instrument of typical Russian informational war, nothing else. Because, like a serious leader of a strong country and army, would never describe everything in that detail. Typically, people keep secrets about their new developed weapons. Oreshnik turned out to be an old modified missile with nothing surprisingly new, and an answer to the trolls that often ask that it did not achieve anything in Dnipro, which is important. So in Kazakhstan, he started speaking about the potential use of more Oreshnik missiles on the decision-making centers in Kyiv. But I'm sorry, he has been using thousands of missiles on the decision-making centers in Kyiv and everywhere in Ukraine for 3 years already. So how come we can be afraid of that? It's total nonsense. It's just a decision to show off when you literally have nothing to show off in. True. So I think the only explanation why he actually shells anything he can in Ukraine, tries to reach our schools, our hospitals, is that, yes, in Ukraine, every person is able to make his or her decisions. That's why, literally, in contrast to Russia, we have decision-making centers everywhere, because we have a strong civil society. And our decision to stand against evil and to defeat it is central for the future victory of Ukraine. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with us and to see the collapse of the Putin's regime, and that will be beautiful. Moreover, we have the illustration something similar is coming for the Russia-backed regime of Assad, who had to escape to Moscow. And I am not sure that in this situation, with Russian bank collapse, with problems Putin has everywhere, he can help Assad anyway. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this situation? I cannot tell you, I'm an expert, I'm a Ukrainian, but it looks very interesting. And also protests in Georgia I am very proud of those people who stand against Russian mir that tries to return back to this beautiful country, and they are very brave, and I'm sure they will be able to defeat this evil and protect their future, European future. And in Moldova, Russia tried to undermine elections but failed. So actually, there are lots of places where Putin's influence is becoming weaker, weaker, and weaker. And that's why they keep visiting North Korea, believing that, I don't know, it can help them. When in reality, these are two miserable, isolated dictatorships that will collapse, and will do it really quickly. Really quickly. And one day Putin will escape together with Assad to the Arctic, but we will find them too. What is also important to speak about is that when Putin tries using this nuclear blackmail, he has a gang that supports him. And you will be surprised to know that among those is the patriarch of the Moscow church, Kirill, who is a former KGB agent, a great supporter of the Ruski Mir, which has nothing in common with Christian values or values of any other religion that respects human life. And recently he spoke about the need for all Russian Christians to stop being afraid of the nuclear war, because the end of the world is not that bad. Well, maybe it's not that bad if you live in Russia, because literally that's a hell on earth. But for all the life-loving, other people-loving humans, it's not something that good. And it is another illustration that the situation for real Christians or people who believe in other religions in Russia is very dramatic and tragic. And that's what, for example, Ukrainian Protestants report on the temporarily occupied territories when they don't have an opportunity to practice their religion. And all what Russia wants is to use Ruski Mir as an ideology of suppression, as an ideology of denial, anything different. And you see, they bless tanks, they bless bombs, and they bless the end of the world, but not the one like measured by God, but the one organized by the Kremlin goblin. That's not the way it should be. So honestly, I am very happy that despite all of these threats, despite all of these performances, pathetic performances of Putin, our allies are not afraid. And Ukraine is able to use more and more of long-range missiles, in particular Storm Shadows, to neutralize Russian military objects, Russian decision-making centers, and most importantly, huge stocks of various missiles and other instruments of war that they otherwise would use to destroy our hospitals, our schools, and our lives. Thank you so much for giving this much-needed permission. And I'm also happy that Ukrainian drones keep working. Just this night, 3 more radio location stations of the Russian air defense destroyed in the temporarily occupied Crimea. And taking into account our yesterday's vlog, I feel something big is coming to the south of Ukraine, some important operation of the Ukrainian armed forces, because they literally have almost no air defense left there. So I think something good is coming. And also in Dagestan, which is far away, and actually it's a very rebellious republic of the Russian Federation. They had to close an airport because Ukrainian drones were doing the job on some military objects. And altogether illustrates fantastic weakness of Russia and the Oreshnik effect. By the way, we have a separate video on that, and I will connect it here, because it tells a lot about the serious destruction that this missile brought, no, not to Ukraine, but to the Russian economy. And honestly, I don't know what will come first, Russian military defeat or Russian economic defeat. But I don't mind, both versions are good. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about front lines, which one, the economic or the military one, is more dangerous for Russia and more important for us. Remember to support our NEFO campaign, that is super important, and we have more than half of the needed funds raised, and I'm very grateful for your support. Also check the merch shop. Black Friday continues and you can select lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and also Christmas presents with minus 15%. Join me on X, Threads, Discord, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Our community there is growing really fast and I'm beyond proud. And actually, recently we had more than 25 million views, which is amazing. And never in my life have I thought it was possible when I start vlogging in the darkest hour of modern Ukrainian history. And thank you for your love, your friendship, and you are a true family that I definitely value a lot. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!